I need to change the sound of a mail to something like this.
I
Good
like it.
morning.
Good morning.
What time do you wake up?
15 minutes ago.
No,
I
really?
stayed up late. The thing
I'm
is,
so
I stay up
jealous
late to get this thing
to get
delivered.
this thing. And
So
I
you have something in your mailbox at 7.
so I get up early to read this thing. Good morning, everybody. This is AI and QA newsletter review, debugging. What else? What other fancy words we can use from QA world? No, not refine. Retro,
Retro, yeah.
retro,
Testing,
stand up
discussion.
testing. Yeah, AI.
Yeah.
Just throw it
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Artificial intelligence, LLM,
Hmm.
model,
MCP
harness, context. We got all the
skill.
keywords.
All of the keyword. I don't know if it's catching, but this is what it's gonna be for the next 30, maybe 45 minutes. Um, I don't know if everybody knows, but there's AI and QA newsletter every Monday from Butch Mayhew. Butch, how do I get to get this thing if I didn't know you, and you forced me
You
to receive it?
you go to aiandqa.com.
Okay,
It
I'm gonna
feels
go
weird
there.
when you're typing it in the browser because it's
AI in QA. Oh yeah.
AINQA.com. And then you go and put in your email and
Okay.
you go confirm your email because I validate that it's a legit email that actually receives a message before signing you up.
You
So
validate it or AI validates?
my system validates it,
Okay.
the back end, but it's not AI. No,
Not AI.
I
Not
don't. I protect all email addresses. All the email addresses stay
so you
in
don't feed
my
it to
system,
AI.
and they don't get sent to anyone else. So
Oh, you know what? Every time when I click on home button, the constellations change. That's cute.
you like that?
I'm on your website, yeah. But for those who didn't receive the latest issue, you can always go to browse latest issues on the website. So right under the field where you uh, put your email and then click subscribe because that's what you're gonna do now. You can click browse latest issues because you are not gonna receive the today's one, and today's one is interesting because it didn't have a lot of triggers, and you know me, I usually go through the email, right, and scan immediately. For the articles, and I was like, okay, why am I not pissed? What is going on? Why nobody said something where it gets me what? But you know what I loved? So yesterday, while thinking that I will need to get up earlier to read this thing, I was like, okay, but how does he even like put the thing together? There's so much right now.
There's a
Anywhere
lot.
you look, I go to the gym, I look at the screens, and it's all AI. Like every single news outlet right now is talking about AI in any form. It's either AI generated videos, or AI did this, or Amazon AI, AWS, and stocks and money and all of that, and it's just insane. And then I go to the gym, which has like a screens built in where they advertise
The
stuff.
fancy gem. Let's just go ahead and say it.
Okay,
It's
so
more.
let
It's more than. It's more than $100 a month, Jim.
it's more than $200. Let's start there. but even they used AI in their advertisement, but their idea is don't trust everything you see because
Yeah,
there is like a
that's a
pope
good way to
dancing, a
approach it.
horse diving. So that one is actually nice. Like it promotes you to be present, to be real, to be you, and not rely on AI. But so how do you? And basically, you answered today. I don't. I
I
started
did.
reading, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you see, I was going to bed thinking about it, and you, while preparing the newsletter, you already thought about it. So, for those who are not gonna follow us, because it's not read and follow, we're not gonna read it out loud. But
Sure.
can you like say in your own words without reading the email?
Sure.
How do you
I'll,
prepare?
I'll just say the first section that I added was all around AI slop on LinkedIn. So, yeah, I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn. I've got a pretty good algorithm, but what I've found is like as like content comes out from different people, there's some patterns. There's a lot of patterns out there around, what people are posting about. And I don't know if it's like aura farming or what, but it's just people trying to get likes and reposts, but it's just fluff. There's no meat on the bones. And that's really what I talked about at the beginning here. I talked about it making me sad. And I also talked about, if you want to get featured in the newsletter, the things that I look for. And I thought this, as I was thinking through, I can quickly, so typically where I'm finding content, I have 5 minutes here, I have 10 minutes there, I'll pull up my feed. If I see something interesting that I start to read, and I'm like, I need to finish this, I will send it to myself via like email, because when you close LinkedIn and reopen it, your feed gets all lost. So
Weird.
that it frustrates me. It frustrates me. Like,
super weird.
let me just pull it down and get a refresh. Don't refresh it for me.
Yeah.
That being said, as I find things that are interesting, I will save them and read them, process them, and if it's thoughtful, and if it's actionable, and if the content is useful to either to think about or to help shape my understanding, I'll likely, and it has something to do about AI and QA, I'll likely include it in the email. Like, but there's a lot of things I'm having to filter through, at least this past week, to find the good stuff, or what I would consider the good stuff. So,
Do you get an impression ever that because of there's so much noise coming from this hype posts, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. People go on Instagram and post stuff, so like they get
sure.
likes and stuff, and maybe on LinkedIn it's the same. Um, is it like the percent of good posts, is it like less than it was, like, for example, let's say a month or 2 months ago?
So here's where it's like hard. Like, my algorithm was like pretty dialed in 2 weeks ago, but like this week it was in the garbage, at least certain days, where it was just a bunch of stuff that had the keywords, but it wasn't valuable content. So I try not to interact with any of those, or like no likes, just keep scrolling. And yeah, I probably need to click like don't show me this in the future. That's
Because
what
you
I need to do.
pause anyway, so
Yeah.
the algorithm probably like, oh, they paused
But I,
here.
I want to read it like, hey, this looks at this infographic. It's crazy and big. It has 22 icons. Like, maybe there's something here, but I scroll. There's no link. There's no actionable things. It's just a bunch of AI generated fluff. And I did read James Bach. Is there something in your eye that, the quote from there, I posted in the article, even if you are an ardent AI fanboy, I would say like I lean on that side for sure. Wouldn't you prefer to prompt AI for yourself instead of reading someone else's article generated from a prompt? Yes, I would. So, and that being said, as folks are sharing articles and sharing approaches, if there's prompts that are in those articles or skill files, those are a lot more interesting than, hey, AI can do this thing, right? If you can show me how to make it, how to take action on this thing on my own, I'm going to enjoy it more.
It makes sense. But also don't forget that there are a lot of people, and again, I'm not gonna name anybody because I don't know anybody. I just assume, no, I know some people, but I'm not gonna name them, who They like the buzz, they like the keywords.
Yeah.
They actually not interested in learning. They actually don't want to prompt themselves. They absolutely
I mean,
fine
there's
receiving the
124 people that like this post that are
so
fall in that bucket.
they go back to their stand-ups, their I don't know, team meetings or casual conversations with other testers, and they say things like, "Oh, I read online this thing," and it's fine. I mean, it works for them, but of course, if you really want to do the work, well, I just said it, right? You really do need to work. If you
Yeah.
really do want to work, you'll have to work. So it's not AI's. I mean, it's magic, but yeah, you still have to work. And the newsletter brings some very cool stuff. So I didn't get to read everything I would want to read this week. So, for example, I didn't have time for Gherkin article. There was something about
I was ready for you to get triggered from that one, man.
yeah, but the thing is that when I started, like, I was like, "Oh, Gherkin, yeah, 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 I'll get it." So how I go by them to the bottom, and then from the bottom up, I'm opening the ones I want to read and go one by one. So really just didn't have time for Gherkin, but I did read "Creating a Playwright Framework with AI" by Colin Ryan, Geharst Ryan. I hope I pronounced it right. Was interesting. So because creating a playwright framework with AI from scratch, I very much loved the website itself. It's like black with pink.
Yeah.
It's little Blackpink. And there's like a pop group Blackpink, and so I read it. That was pretty good. Again, there was something where I noticed recently where it seems like how, again, nothing against Ryan, right? Nothing against other people who mentioned what I'm about to say. But I've noticed this thing where people who write articles, they always bring the point that, "Oh, you don't know code, that's fine, just write it." Like non-coders can start using AI and just do that and stuff. Majority of articles later in the paragraph or another one, they mentioned that, listen, you wrote it, that's beautiful, but you need somebody to review that, and it should not be you or AI because you don't know, and AI is going to be biased most likely. And if you're a non-coder, you won't be able to actually ask maybe some questions. But this like huge push towards coders writing tests and code, it doesn't trigger me at all. Like you can't compete where you can compare. Come on. But what I loved in one of those articles today, I really loved, because we discussed this a few weeks ago. I asked you, what if a person wants to go into QA today? Are they like doomed? Because there are a lot of us already,
Yeah.
established with experience, with a lot of experience, right? And our own, practices. And again, we get hired by companies to do what we do. And there's like some like newborn, like a baby, like, "Oh, I want to be a tester." In one of the articles, I don't remember which one. So, but it was the point that because of AI, you actually can get pretty good pretty fast,
Yes, you
and
can.
maybe bypass, some like this struggles which we had to go through. And I'm okay with this. But with non-coders, I'm still like, I don't know. Like, for me, I immediately remembered our time working at one organization. I don't know. Do we say names or not?
Sure. Say
Yeah,
it.
at Tild. When we were working at Tild, right? And a few weeks ago, I showed you how, and obviously now everybody knows this, how you can write a ticket in Jira or Linear and ask AI to, write code and review the
Yeah.
code and push the code. And I was just started thinking, okay, let's say our product manager, an amazing person, writes the ticket, opens the PR, and then Matt Andreg needs to review that. And the thing is that this is where it's gonna get interesting for me personally. What I think immediately is that I still do not believe that AI is gonna write amazing code on a first attempt. If we're talking about a complicated feature, which, for example, a tilde, there were not like easy. I mean, change the color of the button, yes, but I'm talking about something more complicated. Where logic with ledgers and I don't know
Okay.
all
Yeah.
that stuff David Templin knew. Uh, I don't believe AI will be writing 100% code which will be passed by a reviewer, and then a reviewer is kind of stuck with fixing it. Do you know what I mean? So a non-coder can open.
Or calling out where is it faulting, right? And
Right.
that does require someone that understands the code, that understands the risks involved, that understands the problem.
Yes.
And I think I do believe like you're still gonna need that.
Yes.
I'm gonna push back a little bit
You
on
do.
like your
Do
stance
that.
on like getting good code output from these tools. I think if you know what needs to be tested and what risks are needed, you can get good enough code out of these outputs that can validate those things. Is it going to be the most beautiful? Maybe, maybe not. Is it going to follow some bad practices? I would say it depends on what you have in the context of the time, because you are able today to take templates and what good looks like and rules and be able to get pretty good output into your automation suites.
Ooh, yeah, I'm
Now,
sorry. I have to interrupt because I didn't mean automation. I meant the writing code as a developer.
okay. So
That's
this
what.
so like automation code, it feels like, right, you're in this narrow river channel, right? And there's only so far you can go as you're working within browser automation. Sure, you can bring in 20 new packages, but you don't need to. Like the Playwright package does almost all of it. Maybe you reach for a faker to generate some fake data. Maybe, probably,
Probably.
in a lot of ways. But like
Yeah.
outside of that, it's like, what other package are you bringing in? Like, it's like utility things. Like, help me generate a one-time password based on these auth keys. Like that's the type of package you're bringing in, so you can do this one little thing, or a PDF parser to go validate a PDF after this test, which is maybe 5 tests out of 300. It's like you're still in this narrow pathway and channel, and yes, I think AI can do that really well. But as to your point, as you're working in a code base where there's 50 different dependencies and there's all these different patterns, and different patterns need to be followed by different things, and there's also like 4 existing ways we used to do this in the code base. So when the AI is working, it sees the old ways and the new ways, and it tries to smash these together and tries to generate something. Yeah, it's not going to be as great with a larger code base, unless you have very clear instructions and you give it a very clear path. And but I still think it's good. It's just you're still going to have to review it, right, on the developer side.
Yeah. And if there's something, developer is stuck with that.
That's right. If somebody else
That's what I mean.
coded it, via automation tool or AI tool, it's like they're not going to be the ones to fix it. They're going to say my button is the right color, and I'm sorry I introduced this race condition. I don't even know what that is.
Side effect. But yeah, creating Playwright a framework with AI. There are, like you were looking for instructions. There are diagrams and structures and explanation how it can be done. So that one was pretty good read, and it
And
was
that was Callum.
column. Yeah, but
He
he says Ryan in the
he
parentheses.
does. Yeah, he does.
That's
have
why I
that.
said
Yeah.
Ryan. But yeah, that one was pretty good. And again, like I agreed with everything. I was like, hey. And for me, it's important because like then I can say that, oh yeah, I would recommend this one.
Me too.
But
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
yeah, which
Great
one?
place to get started for sure.
Absolutely. Which one did you like? I mean,
I
you
liked
loved
all
all
of
of
them,
them
man.
because they're all
These are
your.
these are all my babies. These are all
Exactly.
my
Yes, I
babies.
know. Well, it's not your babies. You're just like a kindergarten, like teacher. They come to you and you play with them, but there are other people babies.
All right, I'll give two or three groups, and then I'll land on one. So if you've noticed, there were actually two accessibility flavors that were out here. So that's an area that I've done some accessibility testing with the Axe tools and just other tools within Playwright. I've done a lot of reading, so I know what to look for and how to use some of the Chrome Dev tools to do some of this testing. But thinking about how to leverage AI or how to automate some of this work, and I know it's not going to catch everything, but if it can get you to 85% and you can focus on other areas, that seems like a big win in my brain. So those two that were around accessibility were very I really liked them. So one of those is the scaling agentic accessibility audits with browser side scans. So that talked about the MCP server, the Access Lint MCP. So go check that out. It's a LinkedIn post. And then the other one was the keyboard intelligent guided test. And this is one of those that is like a paid tool from DQ. I'm assuming that's how you say it. DeQuay Systems. DQ is what I'm gonna call them. DEQWE Systems. Um, if you're working on software that is facing towards customers, that's not just an API as a UI, you should look at this tool and see if this tool is useful for you to leverage AI automated keyboard accessibility tests as a part of this package that they offer. So big fan of those. I did include that Gherkin guidelines. So that was from the man Andrew Knight, the Automation Panda. I'm still not in love with Gherkin syntax. I just I it's still got the bad taste in my mouth where you've got this Gherkin syntax and then you've got this other code that has to go like get mapped and go do these other things, and is just too much of a maintenance headache for me to ever want to maintain that. Does that change with AI tools? Like maybe it might. It's still hard to read for me. So I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one.
You're not the
Smiling.
only one. I read it every day right now.
But if you're using, oh, you do, yeah. If you're using Gherkin, this is a great repo that Andrew Knight put out around, what are the rules of Gherkin? How can you make sure things are formatted properly? I know formatting is a big thing in your book, Sergey. This gives you the rules and guidelines to make sure that your code and Gherkin matches, the BDD Gherkin guidelines. So check it out.
Yeah. In the research and data section, I didn't read the whole article, but I did read LinkedIn post about cognitive offloading versus cognitive surrender.
This was okay. This was the thinking fast,
Yes,
slow, and
yes,
artificial. Yes,
yes. Maria Tulieca, yeah, something like this. Yeah,
pronounced it wonderful.
Tulieca, yeah. Maria Tulieca. So that one is very, very good because like those are trigger words for me, like those like, oh wait, what? And yeah, so it's again, it's back to what we discussed in the beginning, is where cognitive offloading is using AI output as input to your own thinking, is again back to what we talked about before, is you actually read it and try to understand and use your cognitive thinking or offloading. And cognitive surrender is basically when you read it and take it as it is, and just copy paste. It's
Yeah.
exaggeration right now, but the idea is like copy from the input, paste, like with no filter to you add. So that one is, and there is an article if you follow the link and go to on LinkedIn. There is an article or research, I think, in PDF file. So again, I had no time to read it, but definitely would, and will
Yeah.
probably, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a really good one. Also, like that Dora and AI capabilities post down below. So that's Janet Gregory, Lisa Crispin. They are big, long-time thinkers, agile in testing. Yeah, great. They've got books, and I always enjoy their content and the content there that they posted. So, hey, Sergey, we have a live chat comment. I'm
No,
going to ask you this question. You see if you told me
go.
your answer. Any alternatives to gherkin that you would recommend?
That's a very good question. Thank you very much. Are we talking about? We're talking about just tests, right? Right. So,
Let's do it in the context of your test automation framework. So if you have gherkin in your user stories from the product team that is the product team, just yeah, we're not talking about that. What about when you're writing test automation
is
or
there a
managing
name? Is there a
tests?
name
Yeah.
attached to this question?
At ROKKRIVICIC.
You. So, thank you so much for reaching out. You see, I read Gherkin every day. I use Gherkin when I write bug tickets right now because the company which hired me, they use Gherkin. So who am I to come there and ruin, years and years of experience?
No,
Even that's
of training.
it's right. That's a goal, though. Eventually ruin it all. Um, I'm a huge fan of exploratory testing. I'm a huge fan of exploratory testing. And again, I got to work with the teams of one, me, myself, and I. And I also got to work with teams of 15 people, right? So obviously, when I work alone, it's very easy. It's super easy actually because you're your own boss, you're your own manager, your own creator of flows, test cases, or whatever. So that was easy because I just sit down and I look at the feature I want to automate. We're talking about automation right now, right? Like
Yep. Yeah.
specifically.
Let's swap it over. Automation.
Yeah. So again, I just come up with a scenario, and this is something what on Friday I had to explain to junior QA. So because of the application I'm working right now, there are different types of micro apps inside of that application. And some of them are questionnaires. Some of them are literally just like what is it? I don't even know. It's a micro app with a bunch of data input from a user with drop downs, and there is a huge logic behind it. How the next drop down appears based on what you selected in the previous drop
Decision
down.
trees.
Yeah. So again, one of the so what he was automating was questionnaire, basically radio buttons. Radio buttons on different tabs. You just go fill out the application literally by just not even putting any text. It's just the the radio buttons. And this is where it gets interesting because I strongly believe that each person, each QA, each stat, whoever writes the code should use their best judgment of how to automate the feature. So basically, if you've heard about SME, right, subject matter expert. So if I've heard about them a lot. If you work at
Shmee.
the company and there are multiple QAs, obviously you have a team, right? And each team has a QA person, and maybe there are 15 teams. But I hope that you, a leader, your manager, or maybe if you a manager, you have the QA syncs once a week, maybe, where you as a team discuss how you approach automation. What, like, maybe you do the reading of the books and I don't know, discussing the latest post, but you have a working agreement within QA team how you gonna automate it. And I know I'm walking around the gherkin, but just yeah, you'll get there. So the teams I was working on, always a person who writes a code decides how the automation and what automation will cover. Just because I've always worked with amazing QA people. I got extremely lucky with that, and I had pretty much good managers in the past, except maybe one. And so there is a trust in it, right? There is a trust in you as a QA. So you go, you do exploratory testing. What I do while I explore the feature, I'll already come up with how I'm gonna automate that, what exactly I'm gonna automate that. If the feature is massive, I will make notes. I will make notes for user flow if I decided to go with the user flow, or maybe I will make a note for myself to check certain features if I'm gonna do the feature, driven automation. But it always depends on the product. That's it. Like it depends on the product, and how I'm gonna automate depends on my knowledge and experience. And it's pretty good, the knowledge and experience. So like I personally don't need those things. But again, coming back to cloud automation, when we were doing automate, right? Like we had 7 testers, so we six or seven, right? Oh no! Oh my god! Done. Cut. But what we would do, we always, I don't know how to explain it. Everybody was so professional and so dedicated and had ownership over their features. Everybody knew exactly what to do just because we talked as QA people. We always discuss the features. If you have any questions, you can bring it to the group and discuss as a group. Plus, don't forget that everybody reviews each other's code. It wasn't like AI goes and reviews. So based on that, this is how I've operated whole my QA life. It was always, I used my best judgment to automate it, and it wasn't ever gherking. And again, it was everything from my head.
So let
Which
me just, I'm going to like bring that in. You working with teams, you had shared understanding and shared context because you knew one, how you worked, but also you knew about the product and what existed. So rather than rely on gherkin syntax about what a feature should do, you have likely already gone and explored that feature and come up with your own mental model on how it works. Now, when we codified that work, rather than just taking that same, if I'm a user, when this happens, then that happens, we took a broader approach. So instead of having 20 scenarios, we approach automation kind of like in 2 or 3 ways. If there's specific business logic, we would try to test that on the API layer with very specific API level tests. When API level tests needed to go across multiple endpoints, we would break those out of like our resource folder and create a scenario. So it's like there might be 7 API tests, and then the outcome is like this big assertion where we're validating all the things we did actually happen. So, but we didn't have to do if, when, then talking. We were able to just add that as test steps as a part of whatever test runner you're using. So back in the day, we were using like RSpec and Water way back in the day. So like Water's a wrapper around Ruby, Selenium. So in the end, though, like any of the test runners that are out there, Playwright, Cypress, even a lot of the Selenium test runners that you can marry up, they have the ability to create test steps. So in your report, you can see that breakdown of like, this is the scenario. And then each of these steps is what happened if you need that information for reporting or to share with your project managers. The big thing is just making that readable and consumable, but not like marrying yourself to this framework that doesn't have code built in line and farming out the code. That's where it like irks me, is like you've got more abstractions now, and it's harder to follow for anyone new joining. Maybe these AI tools will do better, but like for me to understand it and grok it, it's very difficult. So I just need like one test, one abstraction for our page objects, and maybe some helpers or something. But I don't want my page objects even doing like 2 or 3 hops to other things. I want it to be on one page, and I want my data factory to be one call and one page, and everything I'm calling needs to be within that page, hopefully, right? There's authentication or something. Maybe you're getting ahead of it from somewhere, but simplify is what I lean towards. And yes, that gives you a lot of files, but that's okay.
Yeah,
But test steps, that's my answer.
yeah, that's what we do. But alternative also, the huge Excel file with the description of user flows, right? So what exactly you want to achieve and how to achieve it, which will include steps.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, at Rancher, when I used to work, there was a, so again, alternative, because the person still ask about alternatives. So it will be user stories, right? So you have a user story, and you basically, have columns. So like, this is the user story. This is the steps you gonna do. This is expected result. So you can take that and automate that as well. Obviously, you can just write the whole story yourself, literally just one block if you prefer that. Gherkin, I get why people choose Gherkin though. I get it. I honestly get it, and I think but I get why Gherkin is used for developers. So developers, when I look at them, no shade, guys, but it's very boop. Tell me exactly what to do. Tell me exactly what to do. Don't give me any room for my imagination. Exactly how you talk to AI, right? If you just omit a little bit of your input, the output might be crazy because of hallucinations and all of the other things which I've read now in articles AI does. So for developing Gherkin, I think it's great because it literally gives step by step precisely what needs to happen. I do not test off of Gherkin though. I will open the ticket. I will read the Gherkin. I will understand, okay, this is the feature. Let's see. And I go, right now I'm testing probably 10 tickets and it's all Gherkin. I read just the title, what the ticket is about, and I go and I do exploratory testing. I do what I think it should be happening. Then I go back and see if I see something weird, I'll be like, should it be like this? So I think for testing, Gherkin is not, it's ideal for devs. But for testing and writing automation, I don't think it's that good. I think it's just like every time when I would write something on paper, I put myself in a box. This is how I feel. Like I feel that I put myself in the box. I'm mentally checked out from the feature. I'm mentally done with it. While writing automation, I've been, instances where I would start writing, and after the first test, I was like, oh, okay, wait, there's another one, another one, another one, another one. Just because while you're writing, you're already in the process. And Gherkin, especially if a person who writes Gherkin is not writing tests, it just brings another level when one person creates the what needs to be automated and another one automating it. The person who's automating it is not gonna do extra work for sure. They're gonna follow the instructions.
Yeah, because that's the instruction. That's the box that you said.
That's the process.
Is important.
That's
and I think in, like you mentioned, exploratory testing, like the first thing you do is you go explore. I think reading acceptance criteria or someone else's like idea of acceptance criteria can hinder your ability to explore, right? Because you're kind of adding to this model, and yeah, it's not the great. So let
But
me here's the response. Okay, so
yeah,
basically the test steps were enough for you, and I would also agree with that. Big thanks for the response. The name is Rock,
rock.
ROK. That is an
Hey,
awesome name.
you go. But thanks again for asking a question. And about explorator testing, what I want to say is that don't forget that you don't put yourself in a tester shoes. You don't just test. You don't just read the requirement and make sure that it works. Do you know how many issues are not issues? How many suggestions? Because when I return the ticket, there are issues, and then there are suggestions. I
Yeah.
always have suggestions, or sometimes I return tickets because I have suggestions. Because I don't look at the requirements, I go put the hats of the end user, and your system might have multiple of them, or maybe one. I don't know. If it's just for kids, it's going to be kids. But what kind of kids? What age group? Gender? All of that matters. So while doing my explorator testing, I don't test the requirement, right? I do the testing, I do the quality. And like this is where again, you always need to remember that you're a quality person, not a tester. You really are the person who at the end looks at it like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I would use it. If I was this person, like the hat you're wearing, the name. So that's why also again, Gherkin, nice for developing. For developing, I don't absolutely. You go. Very clear instructions.
I'm gonna leave us with one article for anyone that is still with us. At the end of the article, I've got a quick link section, and I just want to call out uh, the YouTube channel for Ben Fellows. That's AI for QA, I believe, is what it's called. I need to double check that, make sure I get it right. But really great content. These videos, or yeah, AI for QA, 5-minute videos, very practical, very useful when it comes to leveraging AI tools, writing automation, and just getting through some of the things that are really, really tricky. Twicky. Oh, jeez. It's good stuff. Go check it out. I'm trying to break Sergey. It's not working.
No, it's not working. It's not working because I'm already looking at the clock and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. On this note, thank you so much for staying us. If you stayed until then, that's great. If you didn't stay until then, well then I'm not talking to you anymore because you're not listening to me. Have a nice day.
Bye.